And welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe round of 16. Group B is almost done, just one more game left to go. And as you've probably just seen, things are starting to heat up towards BlizzCon at the end of the year. The European regionals, courtesy of our friends at DreamHack, about to take place on the 24th, the 26th and the 27th of September for World of Warcraft and Hearthstone. Don't want to miss those either. It's going to be a terrific end of year for Blizzard games, that's for sure. Back to StarCraft 2, talking of Blizzard games.
Yeah.
Our personal favourite one right now, StarCraft 2.
StarCraft 2. Sorry, I'm boring, but StarCraft 2. That's it. That's the only game for me.
It's the only game in the world.
Only game.
It's been a very interesting night overall. I mean, I look forward to this group. When we saw the groups come out, I was like, I know you like Group D, and I don't disagree that it's a great group, but I really like the look of this group for a number of reasons. Creativity, style of players, the fact that we had the two Zergs battling against two Zerg experts. It's definitely lived up to the hype.
Yeah. I think we had some pretty interesting games throughout the night, and we still have, in my opinion, the last matchup that I wanted to see, which is TLO versus San. And even though TLO had a pretty bad first series, now he's gonna face San in a matchup. You said it is the PvZ master, but I think TLO has something planned, and maybe this time he's gonna have the time to show it. You know?
Yeah. Let's just reflect on Yoda as well.
Yeah, Yoda.
I know we said he was the favourite for the group, but the way that he has demolished the two players that he has played tonight is sensational. He really has torn apart two very, very good players. Yeah,
TLO didn't stand a chance in the first best of three, and I think in the interview he said, like, I didn't expect to win that fast. I had something to show, but he just won with Hellions and Hellbats in the second game, which was because TLO was too greedy and didn't scout it properly. And in the second game, I mean, starting with the Barracks proxy in his main, that was quite interesting.
I can tell you something about that as well. Real came over to me afterwards, after the first map, and I jokingly said to him,
"Is that your build?"
I jokingly said, if you played Terran, that's what you would do, because that's what Apollo had said. And he sort of said, yeah, I did play a lot of Jews. And so he kind of admitted it. But he then showed me on his phone, and what he'd done is, he'd actually gone in and looked at San's build from Red Bull Battlegrounds on the same map,
no scouting,
in the same place, and showed me where he put his pylon, and told Yoda to build the barracks to the left-hand side of the pylon. And he did exactly the same thing. And Yoda put it there, and obviously we saw him build three in the end, three bunkers inside the base. And then win the game. It just shows another side to his game. And having a guy like Real behind him as well,
exactly,
that's priceless for him.
Yeah, that's really having a coach that can do the work that you can't really do, because you don't have time to analyze that much stuff. You have to practice. You have to keep on playing games so your macro doesn't slip up and stuff like that. If you have a coach that is telling you, okay, the pylons are gonna be there. You want to do a proxy racks, you do it right there, and then in the proper game, that happens the same way. You're like, okay, I want a coach too. Like, please get me a coach. That sounds really, really cool.
And you want a coach for the observing? That'd be quite good.
No, I don't need that. I can be coach.
Oh, I thought you wanted a coach for his
No, I want a coach for gaming.
I thought this was some sort of new meta that I hadn't really understood before.
A new meta.
Moving on, TLO and San, they're just about ready for the map veto, which gives us a little bit of time to talk about these two. We've done it to death. I think we've established that San is very good versus Zergs. No doubt about that. There's no argument. It's on paper, it's in statistics, it's in builds, it's been demonstrated all year for the last 2 years. So I don't think there's any argument. One thing I'm going to throw at you right now, it's not statistically TLO's best matchup. However, his recent form alone against Protoss is the best it has ever been. 71% win rate.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, 71.
Yeah.
You start to look at this as like top tier Zerg players as far as ZvP goes. Like 71% is really amazing.
Yeah.
So if you combine that with, as I said before, the format that allows you to prepare the builds for a typical opponent, I think, yeah, TLO has a great shot out. And we talked about it with the Hasuops off screen. He thinks, and I tend to agree with him, that he has a way bigger shot at beating San that he would have to play Yoda again, you know? I think he's got a better shot at this. So with his form, I think, yeah, TLO can make it happen.
We're going to see Nimbus in here. Overgrowth, King Sejong, pretty likely. Probably Merry-Go-Round, I would have thought, will be the other third
And
map.
Nimbus is out,
Yeah. So
Good
King
call.
Sejong, Merry-Go, and Overgrowth. Pretty straightforward maps that we would have expected to see.
Well, the thing is, with this choice of map, Merry-Go-Round is going to be first, but I was going to the point of two-player maps with King Sejong and Overgrowth, means that probably we won't see what Vortex did, but that worked really well, which was the 14-14 pool and gas. It's going to be scouted really early, so I'm not thinking that TLO is going to try this, even though that tends to be a good strategy against what San is doing. So I'm really in the dark. I don't know what TLO has planned, but I'm really looking forward to see it.
Okay. Talking of Dark, a quick shout out to Dark Horse because he wanted a shout out, and he thinks I'm a meanie because I don't do shout outs. We don't tend to do mini shout outs here on the WCS show, but mainly because we want to get you into the game as quickly as you can. But I shout out to Dark Horse because he's in the live thread on Team Liquid. If you've never experienced the live report, please go and do so right now. Go to Team Liquid, check out the live report. It's a fantastic place to be. Constant sense of amusement to us when we read stuff that's funny in there, but also very informative as well. People arguing about the builds and talking about which player did what and how they did it, and full of history and facts as well. So it's a great place to be if you'd like some accompanying information whilst you watch the matches this evening. Also, a shout out to Borsty as well for some great information that he gave both me and Funker. Neither of us are Zerg. In fact, I'm not an expert on anything other than talking, and obviously not in ZvZ, and unfortunately nor is Funker. And Borsty, you gave us some solid advice earlier, so thank you very much for that. Keep all the love coming, by the way. Make sure you keep tweeting at us as well. #WCS. Follow the main StarCraft channel on Facebook facebook.com/StarCraft, and also at StarCraft on Twitter as well. And you'll get all your information about Heroes of the Storm. You'll also hear about Hearthstone qualifiers and World of Warcraft qualifiers, and of course, more importantly to us, StarCraft 2 information as well. It'll all come through the official Blizzard channels, which are all over Twitter. Right now, we're going to head into our fifth and final game of the night. Yeah, what? It's only 3 hours and you're into the final match? You betcha. Time for the last game then. Who's going through to the quarterfinals? Is it the hometown hero, TLO? Or can Korea make it 2 out of 2? Let's find out with Apollo and Hasselhobbs.
Thank you very much once again, and as always, but now it's time for some serious business. A massive best-of-3 is upon us. Liquid TLO goes up against Yowie Flash Wolves San, who is 21-0 in WCS in 2014, is 25-2 all-time. This is the biggest challenge that TLO has probably had in a long, long time.
But I think he is a little bit more happy to play against Sun than Yoda, because the first best-of-3 was extremely heartbreaking, I think, for him. That was, as he said, he was just playing like crap and not happy at all. And I think his ZvP is not too bad, but the thing is that Sun, as you mentioned, has such a good PVZ, so...
Yeah, unbelievable. 93% all-time in the WCS. That's just unheard of. No one else even has a stat that comes close to that one that San has here, and is no doubt the clear favorite. There's no other way to look at this. You know, stats don't lie when they're that heavily in favor. But TLO, you know, is decent. 63% is decent for sure. Not obviously nowhere near close, but he has some information. He knows how San plays. He's watched him play versus Vortex earlier and had a bit of a feel how San's approach into this.
And Vortex was able to grab a map against Sun with a very aggressive opening, 14-14 speedling attack. And TLO played very well against Vortex. I think the second best-of-3 we saw was very well executed overall, almost no mistakes. While Sun actually was struggling quite a lot against Yoda. I mean, the second map, the last engagement, I'm not really sure what he was thinking, or if he was sure he's going to win the decider match anyway. So, like, that felt very weird. And yeah, he has to do better against TLO right now.
Okay, well, I've definitely got a big question to ask you, but I will once we get into this one. And hopefully no early build orders will change what I could do. But we're ready. The first map of the final best-of-3 of the evening. As Red Eye said, will it be 2 out of 2 for the Koreans, or will Germany slip through in second place here, eliminating San for the first time ever at this stage of the tournament? Up here to the top left, it is that very man as the red Zerg player, playing for Team Liquid, the German TLO. The crowd fully behind him right now. This is, as mentioned, One of the biggest games in a very long time for this man, but up here to the top right-hand side is the blue Protoss player. Seems unbeatable. It's Yoey Flash Wolf San. We'll see if this is capable here, Haswabs. Anyway, the question I wanted to ask you, TLO over the last year or so has had difficulties with understanding Zerg versus Protoss. He's refused to use swarm hosts.
Yeah.
He's, you know, stuck to a lot of layer play, Ling, Hydra, Roach, Corruptor, maybe some Mueller switches. In your experience, has he found his footing and where and what to do in this matchup in recent times?
I think his recent results against Protoss have been pretty good. I didn't see the games, but stats-wise, from Aligolag, what I saw, it has been solid. I think he knows exactly what he wants to do, because it's TLO. He always has a plan how to play the best of 3 or how to play an opponent, I would say. And he's opening up with pool first, so he don't want to get cannon rushed or any kind of cheese. And Marigo, as mentioned before, I think it's a pretty decent Zerg map against Protoss, because it's hard to take a third for the Protoss, and you know, if he doesn't take a third, he's going to 2-base all in. So what do you have to do? You have to defend it. That's definitely something TLO can do if he's aware of that.
And I really think that TLO will more than likely take a very different approach to San compared to Vortex, as we saw earlier. Vortex was the guy who tried to get aggressive, he tried to put San under pressure and change the pace of the game. But TLO, for me, has always felt more of the traditional Zerg in the sense of that he'll be the heavy scouting, reactionary, make sure to defend, rather than play as we saw Vortex do.
Yeah, definitely. He also can be very aggressive with some builds. But I think you're right. He more likes to play the standard approach of Zerg, reacting to what he sees, having good injects and good creep spread, so he has a bit more time to react to things.
What do you think about San's approach to go for the same build here? Do you think that he's very brave in doing so, or is it it's fine to do it knowing that TLO isn't going to open like Vortex did? Because we saw how easy Vortex gained that advantage, you know, countering this opening.
Oh, I think it's fine. You have to take a small risk as a Protoss in the early game. Most of the time at least, and this is overall, I'd say, a rather safe opening, because he gets the gateway before the Nexus, so he can squeeze in a Zealot if needed, if it's an early pool. It's just the thing that Vortex opened up Speedling 14-14. That's what really was hurting Sun. So I think it's a decent choice and will not hurt him at all.
This series is not just about San losing here for the very first time, and losing in the round of 16 for the first time in over 13 months, which is massive, by the way, losing at this stage of the tournament. But also, can TLO get back to the top 8? He did it in Season 1 a long time ago in 2013, over a year and a half ago as well, so records will be broken in this series. But TLO has opened up with a fast third, or relatively fast third, cutting his Queen production just a little bit to squeeze that one in. And he's going to play this out from here on out. But San, Sentry coming in.
And the Stalker's on the way, so no speed. I mean, speeds are just started, so the Stalker will be a little bit annoying. Maybe killing the Zerglings, as we just see, and poking a little bit on the Overlords or Queens. And it's also an interesting choice to see a Stalker first. And
what do you think about the robotics facility here? It's very San.
Yeah, that's what we saw when we were doing the research. That's the very straight-up Immortal all-in. A greedy opening, so you get the Nexus a bit earlier, so you have a bit more income. And then you squeeze out, I think he had 4 Immortals?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it was a rather late one, but a very powerful attack.
And he, I think in this one, he went for the Warp Prism 2 to slow down Zerg as much as possible. And TLO scouted the front door there, sees 2 extra gateways being added on. At this point, you can usually tell that there was something before those gateways there, whether it be a 4th gateway or robotics facility Stargate. But we are going to see the Warp Prism, as just mentioned here. What are the key ways to defend against this? Do you need to stop the Warp Prism harassment? Do you need to identify exactly what this is? Is it Roach Ling? Is it Roach Speed? Is it maybe Hydralisks?
I'd say Queen Zergling against the Warp Prism Harris. Just don't overreact against the Warp Prism, unless you're sure it's like 7 gates behind it and he wants to force feed your ramp. So he has to sacrifice a second Overlord, I believe, and try to find out what's going on. But it's rather hard, I agree. It's not that easy.
Well, he's adding on 2 spores right now, main and third, which...
That's good.
It's definitely going to help out with the Warp Prism. I'm not sure if he's building it because of the Warp Prism or not, because I think he also could anticipate Stargate play and Oracle to randomly fly in. But 3 sentries here, and there's 3 gateways total powered up with a 4th and 5th on the way. Is he aiming for the ramp? Is he aiming for the main mineral line?
He has already 4 gateways, so I think he will warp in 4 zealots, killing the
TLO
queen.
has no units.
What? 0?
Pure drones.
Oh my god.
There's 3 Zerglings with 4 on the way and 2 more roaches.
Oh no, 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 no.
While this is happening, we see sentries being picked up here by San. 3 zealots already in the main base. The Spore Crawler repositioned itself, but likewise did the Warp Prism in unit.
Oh, the queen. Okay, never mind. I thought the queen is going to be trapped between the spawning pool, but now it's trapped anyways.
Yeah, and he's targeting down some of these units. There is a transfuse on one of the queens. There will be another one shortly, so this is okay. And he really hasn't lost that many drones here. Only 4 so far, and he is going to push this back. So as much as he didn't have any units as that dropped down, but at the same time, a lack of mining time, this has slowed TLO down, and we already had 2 Immortals out.
I think Sun should have warped in another round of zealots. He was just warping in 1 round of zealots, but he's moving out right now, as you
TLO's
mentioned.
got no vision.
Yeah, 2 Immortal. There's no Zergling on the high ground.
He's got no vision. If he had some more drones here, he's in so much trouble. He's at 58 drones. This is more than enough.
Oh, he's supply blocked. 4 Overlords on the way. Oh, no, no, this is a crucial moment. He doesn't see anything. He has no idea.
He's about to find out now as 2 Immortals, a bunch of sentries are on their way. There are 9 Roaches and 5 Zerglings with 3 Queens somewhere to be found here. Extra warpings come in. Roach speed on the way. 6 additional Roaches. Can TLO hold on here? If he holds on, he's going to be in very good position, but this is going to be so hard. There's so many force fields.
Yeah, and Sun is already in a good position here. He's moving towards the 3rd. He finds a few Roaches. Oh, easy pick up there. 3 Roaches for free.
And all the drones evacuating this area already. There's a couple of Overlords going to go down. A force field traps that queen, and the queen tries to run away. That's going to get picked off immediately. 3rd hatchery is going to go down. TLO is going to go for a counterattack while mounting a spine, spore, and a limited amount of unit defense on the natural, but I think we all know how well that's going to go.
No, this is very, very painful. Sun is starting to warping in at home, a single Stalker at least. He's chrono boosting another Immortal. He will kill every single drone, maybe the lair, and then teleport home. Was just leaving the Zealots maybe at the front to kill the rest. Just
a couple of Stalkers get walked in as soon as San starts to identify what's going on. TLO is in an absolutely terrible position, and if this series continues like this, and we all know it's going to be a 2-0, TLO has to make a change, and he's got too soon. He does break through that natural ramp, but as you smartly said, recall is available here.
And there's Immortal popped out. The Roaches are getting a lot of shots. They might be able to kill the Immortal, but how many Roaches is there? Like 8? Yeah, that's just
9 Roaches.
Nothing that kills the Protoss. Even the probes maybe could fight together with 2 Stalkers or something behind it.
Well, San's army goes uncontested in the main base here. 109 supply for the Korean versus 64 for TLO. The game is over. GG. San takes map number 1 with 2 different types of attacks. First with the Warp Prism Harass, followed by a swift double Immortal attack, which TLO just had no vision, no knowledge, no information all game.
Both times, actually. He didn't see the Warp Prism. There was no Overlord or Zergling spotting. Of course, he didn't see the Robo. That was very well hidden by Sun. And then, as you mentioned, he didn't even see the army moving out. And then he was supply blocked. When he saw it, he couldn't build units. That's, you know, that's the moment. Like, when it happens in a practice game, you're like, oh, Jesus, I can just GG out. There's no reason to try. But in a tournament game, you have to try. But there's nothing you can do. He didn't have enough units. Maybe even without the supply block, it would have been very hard to defend this.
And neither of these players are waiting a second to jump into the second map. As soon as the invites were given to both, immediately accepted. And they want to begin the second map straight away here. TLO realizes his mistakes. He's got to really focus now and not let that get to him like he didn't let the first series get to his second. But San, like we said, man, is just staring at this second place easily. This is almost like David versus Goliath here. And of course, San being David, because eventually he wins. Up here to the top right-hand side is the red Zerg player in need of your support here from all around the world. It is, of course, Team Liquid's very own TLO. And down here to the bottom right-hand side as the blue Protoss player playing for Yowie Flash Wolves, leading this series already. It's San. All right, what change-ups do we have to see here from the German?
Just overall, better play, I have to say. I think that's the only thing he can do. It wasn't a build order problem, or I mean, better scouting is the first point, so he sees what's going on. Oh, 10 pool. Okay, so never mind.
What do you think about this then? So squeezed out an extra drone at 11 pool.
If it's
Gas.
Nexus first, it's great. If it's Gateway into Nexus, it's not good.
All
And
right.
it looks to be Gateway into Nexus.
Okay.
Maybe even Gateway Gas Cybercore. Then it's pretty bad, to be honest.
A risk is being taken here by
Yeah.
TLO coming into this next one. So far, a waypoint on the Nexus indicates to us that a gas is going to be taken here by San, who's not playing greedy.
Not at all. And you know what? I can understand TLO's reaction here, because on the first map, the attack he had to defend came very strong because Sun was greedy in the early game with a very quick Nexus. So he tries to punish Sun for doing things like that. He's even mining gas.
Is there a way that this can still potentially work here, or is the Mothership Core just the end of all of this?
No, the Mothership Core is not necessarily the end of all of this. I would say if Sun has no idea and he just places the Nexus, like without scouting with a probe, and you have a big flood of Zerglings running in, he might still do a lot of damage. If he gets probe kills, maybe there's some chance, but of course, I mean, the Mothership Core is getting untouched, right? It's a flying unit, so...
Yeah. The probe scout is
and it's
here.
even scouting.
And TLO sees it. He's got to hide his Zerglings here. Doesn't want to hide, show this immediately, or does he?
He does. I think he
He wants
does.
to just try and go straight for the probe, okay.
Going for the probe is probably... Yeah, you have to go.
And Burrow, interesting. What is this?
Sorry, what?
Burrow?
For Zerglings?
TLO is the most creative player in the world!
Wait, what?
I don't know. I actually have no idea what this is.
He's going to block the natural with one Zergling. Got TLO. That's what he will do. He won't
He's
do...
back to drones.
He won't do much damage, but he's going to borrow a Zergling at the natural. Trust me, that's
my
what's going
God.
to happen. He's going to delay the Protoss natural forever. And Sun is overreacting, or not overreacting, but he's getting a third Zealot.
And TLO here, blocking the probe. Mr. Creativity at his finest right now, as he's going to swing around this left-hand side. And he's got to make sure he has one Ling. He does have one on the natural. Borrow's almost done, just 20 seconds time.
Oh God,
Is this a good thing to do for TLO? I mean, why is he... Wow,
It is disgusting. I don't know what to say.
What is this?
Like, as a Protoss, I get very angry when I see this.
A missed rally of 4 drones. Borrow's done.
You spoke about...
TLO!
Yeah.
And the robotics facility is going to be thrown down here.
Yeah. And that's the tech choice Sun wants to go for anyways, right?
Yeah,
he
he's
lost
gonna-
his robo.
He's going to get one observer, and then he's going straight for
like
the Immortals.
One base immortal all in.
Yeah.
Ease.
Easy peasy, man.
So he borrowed a few Zerglings in the main base, but Sun having a Zealot, what is he doing? He's borrowing his Zerglings everywhere.
Well, yep.
Okay.
Because he can.
Yeah.
So a third hatchery coming into play by the looks of it from TLO on the other side
Is
of the map.
he's going to block it.
There's 2 links just now started up, so we're not going to see that third being played anytime soon. But this has turned into a game that I just didn't think we'd see. This is very confusing and very different. And to be honest, we don't really see this very often. So to see the follow-up, we literally need to wait and see how this is going to play out. TLO decides to take his third on this side of the map here.
But look at this, Sun is going aggressive, and I think Mothership Core plus 2 Zealots actually can deal a lot of damage.
Yeah,
2 Zerglings and a single Queen at home.
Yeah, no units right now. TLO has not spotted this. He's still adding on more drones right now. He's going to see it.
Yeah, one base Immortal. He's building Immortal. I mean, he will get the Nexus eventually, but he's starting Immortals on one base already. And I mean, it looks cute, and it might be effective, but I don't think that Sun is really behind in this.
No, the 2 Zealots and Mothership Core are going to do damage inside this main base. Drones do get pulled off line to help defend this. Zerglings do pop, but they run away. They're meant to run into the fight here. And
The Queen. Oh no, the Queen. You have to micro TLO. He lost the Queen. Oh no, the Mothership Core. He doesn't even start a second Queen now. The Mothership Core. He doesn't have the minerals. Oh God, this is a disaster.
yeah, this is obviously not good. And the second Immortal's on its way now. TLO has these Lings which don't eat upwards. And unfortunately, the Mothership Core is running supreme in the main base. And as fancy of an opening this was, unfortunately, this is not played out the way he wanted to from that very opening, very start of it.
He's borrowing his drones, so very cute micro. He's trying to salvage the situation, but...
Spore Crawler tries to get some damage done. The Lings here are useless in this game. The push out is already happening here in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 Zealot and Immortal Sentry. TLO has to build more units. He doesn't even have Zergling speed right now. He's got no Queens.
He has nothing.
He has no units here.
Sorry,
All the
guys,
drones come
but-
off the line, and are they going to run to this third base? Are they?
Well,
where
I
are they
have no
going?
idea where the drones were going. He tried to kill the pylon, I believe. I mean, there's 2 time ops, 2 immortals. He does have a sentry in the mix. He will warp in a few more units. He's chrono boosting his gateways as well. So
yeah, tries to get the probe. Does get the probe. It's 12 slowlings right now, going to move down here south, and 2 immortals, 3 sentries, a bunch of zealots, a pylon completed, 60 more lings on the way here. TLO pulls his drone back with the last defense of the German, but some very good force fields there, keep the sentries alive. And this game, unfortunately, is as good as over here, and it is looking like San's going to be the player to advance in second place from this group alongside Yoda. It looks like we are going to have 2 Koreans move into the round of 8, and TLO, unfortunately, returns back to the round of 16 for the second time this year. But it is over. GG called, and San 2-0, extending his enormous Zerg win record. Advances in second place here and joins Yoda, and is our first non-Terran into the round of 8.
hooray! The power of Protoss!
The power of Protoss is back, everybody. Protoss is still overpowered. It's okay.
That was so disappointing.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for TLO. That was really not planned at all, I guess. He tried to do something with the burrow. I guess that was his plan, right?
Yeah,
Because he was mining gas like this, and when he saw the gateway,
he did get circling speed initially, I think, and then cancelled it to burrow, I think. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure.
But yeah,
maybe switched up when he saw it wasn't as greedy as he maybe initially thought. But
I mean, the 10 pool is good if the Protoss is opening up very greedy, but Sun opened up completely standard, and so he didn't do any damage. The Zergling burrow delayed the Nexus, but it didn't delay the Immortal production.
It didn't, unfortunately, there. So TLO is eliminated in third place here in 9th to 12th position. But it is San who has his hands on that second place and gets to continue on and gets another top 8. And in the last 30 meets, that's his 14th top 8 at least performance. As San continues this dominance in StarCraft 2. He's got a single title. Maybe this season is going to be his second title. He's a finalist from last season, wanted a challenge for that first place. I guess we'll have to find out. Well, thank you for enjoying our commentary here, Hasjobs. Great job once again for day 2.
Thank you very much.
But until next time, Funker and Red Eye, take it away, boys.
Thank you very much, Apollo. Our thanks to Apollo and to Hasjobs, who once again have been troopers this evening and have done all 5 matches in the group. It takes a bit of stamina to do that, and we thank the boys for their hard work over the last 2 days. Hopefully Kalaris will be fit as a fiddle and will be rejoining us next week. Back with Funker just to wrap up the evening of Group B. Also, a reminder to you at home, we are taking a break with round of 16. We're back next Tuesday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time for the remaining groups of Group C and Group D. Terrific night. Desperately disappointing for TLO. I know how much he wanted to get through this group, and he felt he could. I spoke to him early on in the evening at the start of the night.
Yeah.
And he wasn't worried about the group. We even discussed a little bit about the fact that he was up against 2 very powerful Zerg experts, and he was, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. I've studied, I've watched, I've learned, I've understood. I think I've got the right builds. I think I can play these guys. And as creative as he is, and as fun as it was seeing all of those Zerglings borrowed all over the map, it didn't work out for him. And I'm not sure if that's a reflection of TLO's current standard or whether it's just the fact that Zan is just that damn good versus Zergs.
Well, first of all, I would say that creativity, it's I don't know how to put that in English, but you can be a genius because you do a build and it works and you look like the guy that figured out everything. And then you try something, it fails, and everybody's like, yeah, get some more macro games, stop creativity. You know what I mean? Like you could look like a bad player even though when you do it, like it's amazing, and if you win with it, it's perfect. But in that case, that didn't work out for him, and you look at the end of the night, and the 2 best players of the group, he took 0-2-0-2, and pretty harsh.
In England, we sort of say there's a fine line between being an idiot and being a genius.
Exactly.
And I think that's kind of what we've got in a way. I don't want to call Dario an idiot, obviously.
Yeah,
but it is kind of like that, isn't it? Because that's how people will view it. They will either think, well, if he'd won that game, having burrowed, everyone would be burrowing Zerglings all over the map for the next 3 months on ladder.
Exactly.
But because it didn't work, everyone's like, oh, well, what did he try that for?
Yeah,
what a moron.
please,
How did he do that?
Yeah.
So
go macro game, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
but on the other hand, I like watching that kind of game. I like
course.
seeing players trying new things, and I don't think we should necessarily beat him up for that. He had to try something different against a player of San's caliber. I think that's probably more than what it was like. Let's talk about the group as a whole. It's panned out how we thought it probably would. We talked about the Zerg experts at the very beginning of the show tonight. The fact that these two, Yoda and San, have been in terrific form against Zergs in particular, and going up against Vortex and TLO made a lot of sense for them in this group. And they've performed and gone through. We've got two Koreans through. They have delivered. But I also want to talk about the fact that we've had 2 days of WCS Europe and 3 Terrans have gone through to the quarterfinals. Didn't think I would be saying that at the start of the year. Why?
Well, you gotta take into account the last patch. That is something that helped Terran quite considerably with the mine buff, obviously. But I don't know. Like we've seen some, as you said, like really good players advancing, and I don't think that that's too bad right now. I don't think there is an issue with the balance right now. But if the trend keeps on going like this, maybe we should ask some question about that.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't see anything quite out of the ordinary.
Isn't this what always happens at a patch? I mean, we do have a period of instability for a few weeks, and while players kind of get to grips with, okay, these changes have done that. Oh, that build doesn't work quite so well. Oh, the Terran suddenly is better at doing this. Oh, I have to counter that somehow. And then it settles down a bit, and we see a much more balance across the whole 3 races. I'd also argue as well, and I'm slightly biased here being a Terran, but we know about the mines, but I haven't seen a huge amount of play. I don't think you could honestly put it down to that, all 3 of these players going through based on abusing one style, because we've seen plenty of different styles, plenty of different builds.
Yeah, especially tonight. Like, I mean, you've seen the TVZ between TLO and there hasn't been any mines going on in these games, just Hellions roasting drones. Yeah. It's been working since 2010, guys. Just build units or you're going to die to you know what I mean?
I think we go back to Mini Razor's tip yesterday, just build more units than the other guy.
More units than the other guy.
Sounds perfect to me.
Exactly.
Sounds like a good idea.
But yeah, no, I don't think we can say anything about it right now. But as you said, like there's a period of adaptation after a patch, and we're still going through these changes right now, in my opinion.
Overall, I guess we ended up with the 2 that we thought we would go through. Disappointing for the Europeans, obviously. And we always talk about Europeans versus Koreans because they are just so damn good at this game, and we kind of expect them to just win everything that they play in. So, how do you assess that tonight in this group? Do you think the Europeans underperformed, or do you think that they were just beaten by the better player?
Once again, hard to call, but I would say, especially, and I don't want to be critical. I'm a huge fan of TLO. I don't think he played his best tonight, and he failed his best of 3 against Yoda. The second best of 3. Like, he played really well against Vortex, no doubt about it. But yeah, I'd say TLO underperformed a little bit. And Yoda, who has been, in my opinion, one of the less good Koreans that we have, is now starting to get really good again. So, both of these things going against each other means that we have the 2 Koreans advancing today.
I'm just, I want to do a very, very quick preview for next week's games.
Yeah.
And I also want to talk to you a little bit before we close up about WCS America tonight, because they have their final group of the round of 16. It's a very interesting group. I've dubbed it the group of champions because, frankly, they're all champions. You've got Pig Baby, who won last season. You've got Hyun, who won the season before. You've got Tasia, who's won more tournaments than any other player in StarCraft 2 history. And you've got Jaedong in there as well, who, for the first time in his entire life, probably finds himself as the underdog in the entire group. What an absurd group.
Absurd.
Who picked that?
Absurd.
I mean,
I don't know.
Who picked that group?
I don't know.
I don't know. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Later on in WCS Europe, next week, Group C and D, as you can see, Golden, MMA, Mana and Wellmu will fight it out in Group C. Terrific group of players. 2 Europeans, 2 Koreans, and I think probably our brightest hope may be in that group.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, Wellmu.
Looking forward
even
to
Mana, I think, can like MMA is the clear favorite in my opinion, but Golden is actually beatable by both of them. So.
Yeah, and then Group D for Death, as Funkel said yesterday. MC, former champion of WCS Europe, Stardust, last season's champion of WCS Europe. 4GG, who is always flattered to deceive in WCS, hasn't had a good season for 5 or 6 seasons, actually. And Daishi, who is absolutely the wild card in that group. Your fellow Frenchman, fellow Terran, has the group of death. He must have been beside himself when that draw. He must have been sitting there going, what did I do wrong in a previous life?
Yeah, that's like really mean to put him in a group like this.
But pressure off. I mean, we talked about Mini Razor yesterday and came in and just performed like a maniac in the first game, and you thought, whoa, hold on a minute, maybe this pressure off business is good for you. And likewise, Daishi can come in. We know what a fun chap he is. We know that he can play very relaxed.
Yeah, and he can beat pretty decent Korean players.
Absolutely,
like we've seen
and he can just do whatever he wants to do in that group. And there are no expectations. No one's going to laud him up as the favourite in the group. No one's going to give him a chance of getting out of the group, which is perfect for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he performs really well when nobody expects him. Like I was referring to Home Story Cup, when he played really, really well and beating left and right like top-level Korean, Bomber and some other guy I don't remember, Armani in TVZ. That was a great game. If you didn't see it, just look at it. But yeah, when nobody expects him, he plays really well, and he's not the kind of guy to get caught by pressure or anything. So he's got a shot in that regard, but when you look at the caliber of the players that he has to play, like, I like him a lot. I really love him, but I don't see it happen. I don't see it happening.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Funker. Thank you for observing as ever, and thank you for stepping in at the desk. It's been great having you downstairs for a change rather than stuck in the cage upstairs. And thanks also, as we said earlier on, to Hasselhoffs and to Apollo for their hard work over the last couple of days in flinging for Kalaris as well. Kalaris, if you're watching, get better soon, buddy. We miss you. We want you back on the show next week. That is it from WCS Europe Season 3, Round of 16, Part 1. We will be back next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for the second half of the Round of 16. You don't want to miss it. And don't forget, in about 2 hours, 15 minutes, there is something you definitely don't want to forget. It's WCS America, the final group of Round of 16, with 4 monster players in. Hyun, Tasia, Jaedong, and the winner of last season, Pig Baby, go head-to-head for 2 spots in the Round of 8. We'll see you next Tuesday. Good night.